You ever have one of those days where you show up to your own land that's been in your family for generations, and you just stand there jaw on the floor staring at 30 shiny new houses that you never authorized? Yeah, that happened to me. And if you think that's wild, wait till I tell you about the woman behind it all. Karen Morrison, who looked me right in the eye like I was the squatter, and she was the queen of Sunset Hills running her HOA like some medieval duchy. She didn't just take the land, she built herself an empire, made me out to be the villain, and genuinely believed she could scare me off with a smile and a stack of phony legal threats. Let me back up a sec. My name's David Mitchell, and after 20 years as a city building inspector, I thought I'd seen every shady trick in the book. But nothing prepared me for the mess Karen managed to create on my late father's land, 5 hectares my granddad bought back in the 50s. I retired early to care for Dad, and after he passed, I inherited the property. I figured sure I'd get some peace and quiet, maybe work the land a bit. Instead, I got hit with the biggest real estate con of my life. The first time I confronted Karen, she didn't miss a beat. Within a day, she'd already sent a group text to every homeowner in her development painting me as some heartless con artist out to rob grieving families. She used my name, my photo, and a totally bogus story, flipping the script so fast I almost believed it myself for a second. That's her game project. Her own crimes onto everyone else play the protector while she's the real thief. Day 2. The threats got official. Certified letter from Morrison Legal Services shows up in my mailbox. Her husband Robert's little side hustle, despite the fact he's not even a licensed attorney in our state. Legal jargon everywhere, threats of criminal trespass, emotional distress, blah, blah, blah. I saw right through it. But I had to admit she had guts. Next, she went for my reputation. She set up a community safety meeting with flyers making me look like I'd just made the FBI's most wanted. Grainy photo, big block letters, protect our families from land grab schemes. She even got a couple of city council members to endorse it, not knowing they were just pawns in her game. At the meeting, Karen's in full hero mode, playing the role of brave leader saving families from the evil outsider me. You know what really knocked the wind out of me? Week 2, when she started telling folks I was unstable, emotionally wrecked from grief, dangerous around kids. She convinced some families to file police reports claiming I was lurking, taking creepy photos, making threats. All I was doing was walking my own land with a measuring tape and camera, but she spun it into this whole criminal surveillance narrative. And folks bought it, at least for a while. But her masterpiece was the social media campaign. She created a page, Protect Sunset Hills Families, plastered it with photos of kids playing, families barbecuing, and old folks walking their dogs, all with captions like, "How can we let someone destroy these innocent dreams for money?" She collected over 300 signatures on a petition demanding the city investigate me. Suddenly I was a pariah. By this point, Karen's community was a fortress. She'd hired private security, put up cameras, no trespassing signs every 50 feet, and whenever I set foot near my land, she'd follow me around live streaming to her fans. If intimidation was an Olympic sport, she'd have taken gold. But here's the thing. If there's one thing my career taught me, it's that you don't beat a scammer by playing their game. You do it with patience, receipts, and the right friends. While Karen was busy rallying the pitchforks, I started building a case. My first call was to Michael Torres, now the county's chief building inspector. We cracked a permit fraud ring together years ago he owed me. "You telling me someone built a whole subdivision without a single permit?" he asked. "Oh yeah," I was telling him. Michael and his crew did a full sweep of Sunset Hills, and sure enough, not one legal permit, no city approvals, nothing. Karen had sidestepped about $2 million in permits, fees, inspections, the works. Next, I called Sarah Kim, a real estate attorney who knows property fraud like the back of her hand. She took one look at the evidence and told me, "David, this isn't just trespass. She's running a full-blown fraud and racketeering operation." Turns out Karen had been selling these lots with fake surveys, forged utility easements, even bylaw documents that were nothing but her own rules dressed up to look official. She'd pulled in over $3 million selling land she didn't own, hiding behind a wall of technical-sounding nonsense. But you want a real twist? The nail in the coffin came from inside her own house. Robert, her husband. Turns out he's a licensed civil engineer, and he'd spent years watching Karen dig herself deeper. When she started asking him to sign off on fake engineering reports, he finally snapped. We met in secret, and he handed over everything, contracts, financials, even recorded conversations. I can't stand by and watch her ruin these families, he told me. They're good people. They deserve the truth. If that doesn't give you chills, I don't know what will. With Robert's evidence and Michael's investigation, we had everything. So when Karen called a giant emergency HOA meeting, renting the community center, inviting news crews, trying to cement herself as the community savior, I knew it was go time. She strutted up to the mic, did her whole "this man is here to destroy us" routine, showed off her phony documents, and tried to turn the room against me. Then she made her big mistake. She opened the floor for questions. I stood up and asked to speak. Karen's lawyer objected, but the homeowners wanted to hear what I had to say. I carried up 3 boxes of documents, started by asking who'd ever seen the actual property deed for their homes. Silence. Nobody had. I showed them the original deed, my grandfather's name, dated 1953. I had property tax receipts, survey maps, a total lack of building permits. I laid it all out. But the kicker, I introduced Robert. The look on Karen's face, if looks could kill folks. He stood up, voice shaking, but he told the truth. Karen's been running a fraud for years. Here are the contracts. Here's how much you all paid. Here are the fake surveys. He showed the money trail, the shell companies, the lot sales, everything. People started whispering, then shouting. You could feel the whole room's anger shift. Suddenly, they saw who the real villain was. Then I played a tape, Karen trying to bribe Michael Torres, clear as day. Her voice on the speakers. How much would it cost to make this problem disappear? At that point, the meeting blew up. News crews were recording. People were in shock, some in tears. Hours later, the FBI rolled in and Karen was arrested. Wire fraud, mail fraud, tax evasion, bribery, operating an illegal business, you name it. But here's the part. Nobody talks about the fallout. 30 families left in legal limbo, their homes technically sitting on land they never really owned, everything they'd worked for hanging by a thread. And yeah, I could have pressed my rights, forced them all out, sold the land, walked away. But justice isn't about revenge. These folks were victims, same as me. They deserved a real shot at keeping their homes. So with Sarah and a whole squad of lawyers and accountants, we untangled Karen's web. Robert, now the real hero, led the repairs, got all 30 homes up to code, and the homeowners elected him president of a brand new legit HOA. We set up real bylaws, real transparency, and a foundation to help future buyers avoid scams like this. Most families paid a little extra to make their deeds legit, but nobody lost their home. That's how you rebuild, Karen. She got 12 years in federal prison, lost everything, house, money, freedom, even her reputation. She'd even been planning to vanish to a country with no extradition treaties, but the feds caught her first. Sunset Hills is stronger than ever, with an annual Justice Festival to remind everyone how fragile and precious real community trust is. So now when I drive through those streets, I don't see fraud. I see 30 families who stuck together, rebuilt what was broken, and made something good out of a disaster. You want to know what real justice looks like? It's not about tearing people down. It's about standing up, doing the hard work, and building something better on the ruins. But here's the thing, was I right not to push for full restitution, not to take back every square inch that was rightfully mine? Some folks say I went soft. Others think justice was served. What do you think? Where's the line between justice and mercy when a whole community's been deceived? Let me know in the comments, do you think I did the right thing? Did the punishment fit the crime? Or should communities protect property rights at all costs? No matter the collateral damage, I want to hear your stories. If you've ever faced something like this, speak up, because in the end, it's our voices and our choices that shape what kind of neighborhood we all live in.